15.
Coming up on News 11, an annual Town of Fredonia fundraiser is making its return next weekend. Hurricane Ian makes landfall in Florida as people prepare for the aftermath. And Apple Music announces its first Super Bowl halftime headliner. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now. Good evening, welcome to News 11. I'm Topher Elkins.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik.
And our first story tonight is a follow-up story highlighting Fredonia Radio System's Fall 2022 Rockin' the Commons. While WNYF was broadcasting live, our reporter Chris Sill was also downtown to understand just what makes this event so special.
Crowds from the Fredonia community gathered on September 24th to listen to live music and to support cancer research and treatment at Rockin' the Commons. Since 2003, the annual event has been hosted by the Fredonia Radio Systems to raise money for Roswell Park Cancer Institute.
Rockin' the Commons has been our annual fundraiser, and all proceeds go to Roswell Park. Everything that we use, everything we do is basically donated for the event so that everything that we make goes straight to Roswell.
In previous years, the event has been held in honor of students and faculty such as Nick Spawn, a comm student who was diagnosed with acute lymphatic leukemia in 2008. This year, Rockin' the Commons was headlined by local band Johnny and the Man Kids, who also headlined in 2019.
For me, it's nostalgic. I used to help run Rockin' the Commons, and we played a few Rockin' the Commons shows in the past, so it's just fun to come back here and see old familiar faces and feel right at home just like how we used to.
There are raffles, CDs, and shirts like these on sale at the event to benefit Roswell. This year, Fredonia Radio Systems was able to raise $1,147 to benefit Roswell Park. Fredonia Radio Systems and the Fredonia community plans to continue the charity event in the future. I'm Christopher Sill with News 11.
For more information on Fredonia Radio Systems or Rockin' the Commons, check out FRS's website at fredoniaradio.com.
The annual Feeding Fredonia Challenge is returning once again. The Fredonia Presbyterian Church has announced that this year's event will run from October 9th through 21st. The church is looking for non-perishable food items for the Fredonia Food Pantry. According to the church's website, the pantry saw an increased use during the 2022 season. Last year's Feeding Fredonia Challenge collected 2 tons of food, but the church is hoping to collect even more this year. Local businesses and Fredonia residents are encouraged to donate and get involved.
A new mode of transportation has been seen around downtown Fredonia lately. Chloe Kowalik has the scoop.
Downtown Fredonia looks a little different this fall. Bird scooters have popped up around the village and are now seen on sidewalks in front of local businesses.
The scooters serve as a grab-and-go option, allowing users to simply find a scooter, scan the QR code, and go. But remember, users should wear a helmet and must have a valid driver's license to ride.
In fact, scooter safety has become a common conversation among the Fredonia community.
Well, I think it's important that whether you're on a bicycle or a scooter or simply just a walking pedestrian, be mindful of your surroundings. When we're out in public, especially moving near traffic, we should be just paying attention. That's the way you stay safe.
Some community members even enjoy taking the scooters out for a ride.
As of right now, just because it's so much nicer outside and it's like a little, fresh breath of fresh air a little bit.
The scooters also provide an eco-friendly option to get around town.
So I don't have to pay for gas. I could just charge this overnight and then the next morning I don't have to worry about it at all.
Keep in mind, bird scooters can't be taken onto campus, in Barker Commons, or in Forest Hill Cemetery. So remember, on your next ride, wear your helmet and stay alert. Reporting in Fredonia, I'm Chloe Kowalik, News 11.
And on your next ride, be sure to stay safe and wear your helmet like Chloe did, unlike some of the other people in the community shown there.
All right, growing up, many children were taught by their parents to never play with fire. Reporter Will Carr takes us to a Jamestown resident's backyard that has become somewhat of a fire playground.
When someone invites you over to their house for a late-night fire, you'd probably expect to see an average bonfire. But in Jamestown artist Brooke Almquist's backyard, you'll find something quite different. In October of 2021, Almquist was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, which prevents her from working. During her newfound excess time, she started watching hula hooping tutorials on YouTube.
So I have a lot of free time, and I kind of lose my mind, to be honest. And I thought it was cool, and I just bought my own hula hoop and started learning.
Almquist started practicing day and night.
And she was really into it. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. With her smacking her hoop off our ceiling fan every night.
As a result of her diagnosis, she had to quickly learn how to go with the flow. She started participating in flow arts, which combines multiple disciplines like fire spinning with hula hooping. Almquist hosts regular flow practice sessions in her yard.
Things are getting really heated here in the backyard.
Well, it's called flow art because it really gets you into a flow state. So it's like therapy in a way. Flow with your flow props and forget about everything.
Almquist says that people of different genders often gravitate towards different instruments. She prefers to use a specific prop.
I love doing fire fans. Some props, it's more like tech, like it's more like doing things with your hands and it's tricky, you know what I mean? And then you have ones that are very like flowy and like dance-based.
Almquist will soon be taking her spinning skills from the backyard to the front stage. She'll be performing with her flow group, the Lunar Pyros, at the Roots Reggae Rock Festival on October 7th in Steenburg, New York. I'm Will Carr with News 11.
And while there's probably a lot of kids that want to try this at home, we should probably leave it to the professionals.
Moving on to Western New York news, Daniel Warmis has become the first Western New York native to be sentenced to jail due to having a connection to the January 6th riots. The 38-year-old from Alden, New York, was sentenced to 45 days in custody and to be followed by 24 months of probation for his actions on January 6, 2021, when he was among the first wave of rioters to breach the U.S. Capitol. However, according to District Judge Paul L. Friedman, it was Warmis' actions after pleading guilty that led to his incarceration. Friedman said, quote, "His conduct since he pled guilty does not show remorse, does not show he learned his lesson, and does not show he knows boundaries. His conduct over the last 6 months while on pretrial supervision is a threat to the community," end quote.
If you're one of the many Western New Yorkers who used to enjoy taking the Peace or Rainbow Bridge across the border, you're in luck. Canada is getting rid of pandemic-related border restrictions that have been in place for 2.5 years. Monday, Canadian officials said they are removing all COVID-19 travel restrictions starting October 1st. That includes testing, quarantine, and isolation requirements for people entering Canada. A transportation official said travelers will also no longer be required to undergo health checks or wear masks for travel on planes or trains. Similarly, changes will also apply to cruise line passengers and crews who will no longer have to be subject to vaccine requirements or testing before boarding.
Two Western New York staples are returning for the respective seasons soon. The Shays Buffalo 2022-2023 Broadway series kicks off with the premiere of the musical The Prom. Following the pandemic, many local businesses found themselves struggling to stay afloat. Shays Buffalo says it has a $75 million economic impact on downtown Buffalo and the theater district, which means that these next few months could have a lasting impact on local businesses as theatergoers make their way to the area. Bijou Grill on Main Street is one of these businesses looking to use the heavy traffic months to help rebound. Michael Greco, the owner of the grill, said, quote, "I just see the future of downtown. COVID put a little bit of a kink in things, but I see the future in downtown getting better and better, and I just love the business. It was my dream as a kid to run a restaurant, and now I'm doing it," end quote. The restaurant was forced to close for 18 months during the pandemic and is now trying to get more visitors through the door. Greco says business typically rises 20 to 40% when Shays is open.
And with October only a couple days away, Fright World is back in Buffalo, and it's bound to send chills down your spine. Last Friday night was the grand opening of the haunted attraction. This year features 5 unique houses, including the all-new Carnival Boneyard, Rochelle Finkelstein, the general manager and director of operations, said, quote, "This year we really spent time and effort in making it the best attraction we possibly can. The houses, even though some of them are the same, they have new aspects in it. The lobby has a new makeover, and the new house is there. There's a lot in there that is new to see," end quote. The Scream Park is open in every Friday and Saturday night from 6:30 until 11 through November 6th. General admission is $40. And when we come back, your national stories, including an update on Hurricane Ian. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Hurricane Ian made landfall in Florida as a dangerous Category 4 hurricane Wednesday afternoon. Ian came ashore near Kyle Costa, Florida, with winds of 150 miles per hour. As of the 8 p.m. advisory, Hurricane Ian was moving north-northeast at 8 miles an hour, and winds had slowed to 115 miles an hour. It was located 30 miles northeast of Punta Gorda, Florida, and 95 miles south-southwest of Orlando. The storm is expected to cause life-threatening storm surge, catastrophic winds, and flooding in the Florida Peninsula. The National Weather Service warned, quote, "Conditions will deteriorate tonight, and the threats of significant to catastrophic flooding is expected to develop tonight into Thursday for areas from North Osceola and North Brevard, including Metro Orlando. Flooding can be especially dangerous at night," the National Weather Service said.
The Congressional Budget Office is warning student loan forgiveness is going to cost the government plenty. The new report estimates the price tag at $400 billion over the course of 30 years. President Joe Biden's plan forgives $10,000 in federal student loans for people who earn less than $125,000. People who also receive federal Pell Grants are eligible for up to $20,000 in debt forgiveness. The Department of Education plans to release applications for the program next month, and no debt has been forgiven yet. The Congressional Budget Office warns its estimate is highly uncertain because of the estimate rules on a number of assumptions and projections which depend on future economic conditions. The White House is expected to release its own estimate of the student loan plan in the coming weeks. The Biden administration previously said the plan would reduce cash flow by about $24 billion in the first year.
Some Virginia students walked out of school Tuesday protesting the governor's proposed new policies regarding transgender students. Students at nearly 100 schools across the state participated in the walkout. It was organized by the student-run Pride Liberation Project. In a press release, organizers say they want school districts to reject the proposed changes, which says students are only allowed to use bathrooms based on their sex-assigned genders at birth. They can only participate on athletic teams that align with their sex assigned at birth as well, and that teachers can only refer to the students by their names and pronouns associated with their birth records unless a parent says otherwise. Critics say these new policies make it difficult for transgender children to come out to their parents. The governor says it is a matter of parental rights. Several school districts in Northern Virginia are resisting the new policies.
On Monday, the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration, Ann Milgram, warned that drug cartels are targeting young people with a new tactic. The cartels are using brightly colored, quote, rainbow fentanyl pills to garner attention. Milgram said the drug is being sold in pills and powders that come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes and tend to look like candy. She added that sometimes traffickers even nickname the products Sweet Tarts and Skittles after real candy. According to the DEA, fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times more potent than morphine, and it is the deadliest drug threat facing this country. The DEA and other law enforcement agencies have found rainbow fentanyl in 21 states.
A research firm warns that a worldwide recession is likely on the horizon. According to a probability model run by Ned Davis Research, there's about a 98% chance of a global recession. The only other times that the recession model was that high was during severe economic downturns, most recently in 2020 and during the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. Most economics seem to agree, according to a report published Wednesday. The World Economic Forum said 7 out of 10 economists consider a global recession at least somewhat likely. The bright side is, Ned Davis researchers said although recession risks are rising, its U.S. recession probability model is, quote, still at rock bottom levels, end quote. The U.S. job market remains strong, consumers continue to spend, and corporate profits are sturdy. There are also hope U.S. inflation will cool off in the coming months as supply catches up with demand.
In something that could sound like a sci-fi movie, NASA is preparing to crash into a moon. The space agency is holding its double asteroid redirection test on Monday. NASA is deliberately directing a spacecraft to strike Dimorphos, the moon that orbits around the Dimorphos asteroid. The impact won't demolish Dimorphos, but it is expected to leave a crater. If the mission goes as planned, it will change the motion of a celestial body in outer space, which is something that has never happened before. This historic collision is occurring nearly 7 million miles from Earth, but the Italian Space Agency is capturing images and video of the mission. And when we come back, Sarah Gorton joins us for our sports update, and our new weather anchor is joining News 11. We'll be right back.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For selective service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For selective service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service. We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For Selective Service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For Selective Service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
And we're now joined by Sarah Gorton, who definitely is looking forward to the future for the Bills. But first, let's look back at Fredonia sports this week. Take it away, Sarah.
All right, well, in local sports, the Fredonia men's soccer team battled SUNY Geneseo last night on their home field, with Geneseo taking the lead early on with a goal from Liam Mulderig in the 12th minute. Fredonia goalie Tanner Sussman made 10 saves throughout the night, and Caleb Stewart scored a goal in the second half, which led to the final score of 1-1. The Blue Devils will play their next match at SUNY Cortland this upcoming Saturday at 2 p.m., while the women's soccer team will also play Cortland on home turf Saturday at 1 p.m. You wouldn't know it's fall in Florida, where the temperature reached over 100 degrees last Sunday. The Buffalo Bills traveled to Miami to take on AFC rival the Dolphins. After a chaotic game with more injuries than anyone ever wants to see, Miami won with a final score of 21-19. Despite the loss, Josh Allen threw for 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, led the team in rushing yards, and was able to reach 11 different receivers throughout the 4 quarters. The Buffalo Bills will play their next game in Baltimore at 1 p.m. this Sunday, October 2nd, against the Ravens, which can be watched on CBS. Finally, just last night, New York Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge tied the American League record for home runs in a single season with his 61st home run in a game against the Toronto Blue Jays. He tied Roger Maris, who actually set the record for 61 home runs 61 years ago in 1961. With 7 games left in the season, we'll have to wait and see if Judge can officially break the record and make baseball history once again.
It's kind of crazy that, like, statistically, he still has enough time to break the main home run record, which I just think is crazy. Of course, I'm a little biased here if anyone's watched Sports Hour, but it's okay. All right, moving on. We are now joined by Julia Skiba, who is now... Are we not going it yet? All right. Well, I'm just saying. All right, Sarah, let's talk Bills then for a split second.
No. Well,
right.
Do we have to? No, we will.
Okay, so
obviously that game didn't go as Bills fans planned, but I think looking forward, all the factors were against the Bills for some reason. It just wasn't meant to be the game. So I don't know how you feel about it, but it was painful to watch.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad, but I do think I think you have to look forward to the future.
Exactly.
Because the Bills' offense is going pretty good. I think that wasn't something that was bad in the first place. Everyone, if you're like a football fan, you know the Baltimore defense is pretty suspect and questionable right now. So
yeah, it was just I don't know, it was just a bunch of other random factors against them on Sunday. I think that going forward, they have to get past a lot of these injuries, which is going to be hard. But hopefully I think they'll be able to do it. Looking forward here.
All right, well, now I think we're going to toss it to our newest weather anchor, Julia Skiba, who's not only a new weather anchor here, but also a new member of WNIF and this semester as well. Hopefully, for your first time around, you'll have a positive forecast for us. So what do you got, Julia?
Well, luckily, for my first forecast, the rain we've been experiencing this past week should be gone. Tonight, the clouds will disappear and we'll be seeing clear skies for the rest of the night. Because of this, though, the temperatures will be dropping to the high 40s. These low temps have made it so that all of western New York is in a frost warning for early Friday morning. Those cold temps will disappear tomorrow, though, as we'll be seeing sunshine all day for your Friday. Temperatures will also increase and get into the mid-60s all day. These calm fall days last into the rest of the weekend and next week, but we'll get into specifics during your weekend forecast.
All right, thank you so much, Julia. I know I'm excited for the fall weather, but when we come back, we'll have your international headlines. We'll be right back.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the sisterhood of women in tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles, watching each other's backs,
and banding together.
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort.
To get to know each other.
On a deeper level. Father.
Cosplayer.
Mentor.
Actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward. Come together.
And discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Thousands upon thousands of Russian men are now fleeing their country to surrounding countries, including Georgia and Kazakhstan, in order to escape the draft. This comes days after Russian President Vladimir Putin announced his plans to mobilize additional forces to bolster their troops in Ukraine. Istanbul is a destination of the choice because Turkey is one of the few places where Russians can travel to without visas, with a long history of Russian tourism. Flights from Russia to Turkey are sold out for the next several weeks, despite skyrocketing prices, but that hasn't stopped people from finding ways to get out. Not only from Russian cities like Moscow, Sochi, Makashflaka, but also through neighboring countries Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and Georgia.
A right-wing alliance led by Giorgia Meloni and her Brothers of Italy party appeared on track to win a majority in the next parliament. Meloni, a 45-year-old mother from Rome, will likely become the country's first female prime minister and the most far-right Italian head of government since Benito Mussolini. She posted the photo claiming victory on social media. The official results are still pending, but Italy's Democratic Party has already conceded. Italy is in the midst of a deepening political and economic crisis. The snap election was triggered after Prime Minister Mario Draghi resigned in July after he failed to unite government behind his economic policies.
Same-sex couples can now legally get married and adopt in Cuba. Voters on the island legalized gay marriage in a referendum on Sunday. The National Electoral Council says a clear majority supported a family code that also increased protections for women, children, and the LGBTQ community. With 94% of voters counted as of 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday morning, just under 4 million had voted in favor and 2 million against, signaling an overwhelming support for the new law. For decades, LGBTQ people in Cuba have faced official discrimination on the communist-run island. In the early 1960s, after Fidel Castro took power, many gay people were persecuted and sent to work in camps to become re-educated alongside political dissents. Though homosexuality was legalized in Cuba in 1979, many gay men and women still say they face open discrimination. Now when we come back, your trending stories, and Julia joins us for your weekend weather. We'll be right back.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Maroon 5 is going to be spending a lot of time in the Sin City next year, and for good reason. The band is starting a new Las Vegas residency, and the news comes as frontman Adam Levine deals with an alleged cheating scandal. The residency features 16 shows from March to August at Dolby Live at Park MGM. Tickets go on sale Monday. Last week, Levine denied cheating on his wife with an Instagram model, Summer Stroh, who made the accusations in a TikTok. She said she dated him for about a year. Stroh also shared Instagram messages she said were from Adam himself. Levine has said he did not have an affair, but admitted to crossing the line and using poor judgment in speaking to anyone else than his Victoria's Secret model wife in a flirtatious manner.
Now moving on to an actual girl boss moment, the new sponsor of the Super Bowl halftime show is stepping up in a big way. Announcing Rihanna as the 2023 headliner, Rihanna confirmed her participation with a tweet of a picture showing her hand holding an NFL football. The announcement came from Apple Music, which took over sponsorship from Pepsi. The soft drink giant has been the NFL's previous partner for a decade. Sean Jay-Z Carter of ROC Nation will serve as executive producer for the show. The music and fashion icon will perform at Super Bowl 57 in February 2023.
And a story for all of our gamers out there, Netflix is building its first in-house video game studio in Helinski, Finland. This comes after the streaming company has been working on several successful mobile games. The new gaming studio will be led by Marko Sticka, a veteran from game developers Zynga and EA. Netflix VP of Game Studios Amir Rami said, quote, "This is another step in our vision to build a world-class game studio that will bring a variety of delightful and deeply engaging original games with no ads and no in-app purchases to our hundreds of millions of members around the world," end quote. There's a lot amongst those trending stories, and I just kind of want to throw it out there that we don't claim men this week. We're just gonna move past that. Let's get into the more fun story. What's your favorite Rihanna song?
Whoa, that's S&M.
Hey, S&M? Okay.
Yeah. That went hard when I was like 10. That went hard.
Before we really knew what that song was about. So.
Yeah, it went hard.
There it is. Hey, I just gotta go with the classic. I think Umbrella has to be top tier. And like, have you ever seen the Tom Holland lip sync video of it when he does it in perfect costume?
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect thing. But one last time, we're going to toss it to Julia tonight for the weekend weather. Julia, what's your favorite Rihanna song, and how's the weekend look?
Oh, favorite Rihanna song, Umbrella again. Tom Holland. That video is iconic.
There we go.
But anyway, for our weekend weather, like I said earlier, the calm fall days are going to be staying for the next upcoming days. Looking at Saturday for your first day of October, a few clouds roll into the forecast, but that doesn't mean we'll see any rain in the forecast. Temperatures are going to be very similar to Friday, hitting a high of 64 degrees. We will feel a tiny bit cooler to a couple higher wind gusts, but still very comfortable all day. Looking at Sunday, we'll lose the clouds and see clear skies and lower wind gusts here in Fredonia. Temperatures decrease a little bit to a high of 58 degrees. So this seems to be a great weekend for more of your fall outside activities. Starting off your school week, even if you're not excited for classes, you can be excited about the weather as we'll see blue skies and comfortable temperatures with a high temp of 65 degrees throughout the day. Overall, some great weather to look forward to over the next couple of days.
All right, hot take question. What's your favorite fall activity?
This weekend?
Just in general. It's just gonna be in general, like anything fall related. Specifically an outside related thing.
An outside related thing?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so you rake up all the leaves in your yard and then you jump in them.
Okay, is that the inner child for you?
No, that's me right now.
That's just right now. Okay.
That's right now.
See, I'm kind of basic. I think I just can thrive on some apple picking, but I think that works for the most part. Better. But thank you so much, Julia, and that does it for News 11 this week. And thank you so much to our behind the scenes crew.
And of course, thank you to everyone watching at home. We'll be back next week. Have a great night.